So Disturbed have now finally come out with another single off of their new album Evolution. Now the previous track, Get Ready, I wasn't much of a fan of. I believe I gave it a 6 out of 10, so it's just above average. I think I gave it a 6. But the problem with that is, well, an overarching problem with Disturbed, which David Draiman has a unique way of singing. He has a unique voice. It's a pretty unique sound. Therefore, it's something completely different. It was really different and something to get excited about. It was an intriguing listen. And I have enjoyed Disturbed years ago when I was listening to 10,000 Fists and Indestructible and things like that. I was a massive fan. They were one of my top bands. But as time has kind of gone on, there seems to be a pattern of they follow a certain formula. David follows a certain singing style. The instruments follow a certain style of basic simplicity and basic structure. And they eventually started actually introducing solos, which was something really nice and very welcoming to put in. But again, there's a problem with that, is Indestructible, it seemed to have peaked at the amount of solos that was there. And then with Asylum and the album after that, they started to pretty much dumb down on the solos. So you can get solos, so the guy's capable of it, but they're in a very few amount of songs, making all the songs without it seem lacking and lazy. And then again, the style always stays the same. The voice, the singing style, the structure is very basic again. All the instruments very bland and basic. With this album, Disturbed have said they're doing something completely new, and they're worried that their fans are not going to enjoy what they do because it's so different and so diverse, this album. It's unlike any other sound by any other band. No one's done anything quite like this. So Get Ready was Basic Disturbed, of course, because David's an idiot, and the band clearly don't really know how to actually do anything different, showing how terrible they are as musicians. I'm going to get a lot of hate from fans of that because that was pretty mean of me. But it had a new sound, so for people who do like Disturbed and are going to try and defend saying it is new, yes, there was something new there. There was a kind of techno kind of element to it. The sound was a bit more open. But again, it's just one new element. They opened their sound up a tad, and then that was it. And the solo was really pathetic. So this song now, A Reason to Fight. This is quite different for Disturbed. So this is actually different. But I hate it. So I've been asking for something different all along, and now I finally got it, and I don't like it. But I obviously have a reason for this. A Reason to Fight is a melodic. It starts out acoustic. It is just an acoustic guitar doing some very simple plucks. And then David doing a type of mellow kind of singing style. It's sort of new from him. The second album, David has kind of touched on melody a lot on that second album, but this is still kind of something different to what they technically do. But his voice, it's alright, but it doesn't suit this kind of style. The acoustic guitar, it's so simplistic, so bland and kind of boring. There's nothing exciting going on. There's no great build. There's no nice tone. It's just and he's plucking it kind of so hard that it's kind of aggressive to delivery. So it's slow and basic, but he's plucking so hard that it's quite a sharp attack in the ear. It's not pleasing. And then David's voice kind of sounds like a whimpering kid. It's not really that good. The pre-chorus, they bring the drums in, which kind of sounds like he's using not a drumstick, but that kind of brush thing, and he's tapping the cymbal with it, so it's kind of like lightly brushing the cymbal. It's not harsh in the slightest. And then the chorus, it steps it up by hardly anything. It is a step, but again, it's just so slow. There's nothing big, grand, epic about it. Nothing at all. As the song keeps progressing, they do keep upping and upping and upping until obviously you get around the end of the song, and it kind of reaches its peak of quite soaring in style. And David kind of definitely projects a lot at the end. The instruments are kind of more into what they should have sounded like. In the beginning, it sounds like, okay, this is our sound, but we don't want this to be the entire song, so we need to start it off differently. So let's just strip everything out and then just have it basic. But that's not good, because basically you've come up with a part of the song, which is basically the end, which is the big sounds, and you've basically just stripped everything for the majority of the song until it hits a peak where it's basically like, yeah, this is a decent chorus. It's nothing even special. I get a lot of influence in this song. Like, this song was massively influenced by the Simon and Garfunkel song, because in that song it had a build. They built it up, and people really liked that amazing build where David at the end was seriously projecting, showing a lot of power in his voice and everything. People across the board just absolutely loved that. So this song seems to be going the certain similar style of starting very low and then building and building and building, and then at the end you get the big epic power of the band. But the thing with Simon and Garfunkel, it's a cover. It's just a guy who can sing at times, and guys who can actually play an instrument, just basically copying someone who's done the lyrics and the melodies and the styles and the instrumentation. They're just playing it. That's it. So all of the hype people gave that song and saying they're great and they're great musicians, they didn't come up with any of it. They're just to getting fame from what another band has done. Like, Disturbed for that album were massively hyped and all over the place and going on shows around the world pretty much. But does anyone know any other song off that album? No, I heard nothing. No other song was ever mentioned off of their album apart from the cover. So none of their other songs actually did any sort of good anywhere. Even the fans weren't hyping any other song up because it was not seen at all. So doing their own kind of thing, like the Simon and Garfunkel with the song Reason to Fight, it's failed quite epically. Because it is very boring, it's damn repetitive. The actual build-up at the end, yes, it is pretty big and it is decent. But that is it, it's just decent, there's nothing to it. It is very, very slow, very, very repetitive. There is no kind of structure and progression anywhere. It's basically just, you got your verse and your chorus, and you go back to the verse, but just put a bit more into it. Then you go back to the chorus and put a bit more of it, then kind of back to the verse, and then end on the chorus at its peak. So it's basically just two things. They just kind of keep growing the sound of these two things over and over and over and over again, which is pretty damn boring. So, and there's no solo. Again, the guy just does not do a solo, which would have given some diversity and something new to the song, but he doesn't. So the song is pretty damn dreadful. Pretty dreadful. It's very boring, there's nothing to it, there's no solos, no great musicianship. David kind of sings differently in the verses, but it doesn't sound good. And then in the chorus, it's kind of back to his same actual style, his singing style, and in the music video he's doing his typical doing all the head shaking and everything like that. I don't know why he does it. He always does the kind of I'm a girl with really long hair flicking out my head like that, and then he does the kind of choking on dick type of sound, and then there's all the kind of no kind of a person. I get an image of a person with like the multiple chins. Just I don't know why he does it. But clearly he's a man of repetition, and the band is definitely a band of repetition, which is probably why he does it. Because they can't do anything else. David Draiman says this is completely new and diverse. No, it isn't. He says that his band Disturbed is going to keep metal alive. If metal dies and Disturbed's all that's left, I'm not going to stick around, because it's not actually metal. Metal to me is solos, massive scope and progressions, loads of multiple verses and multiple choruses and absolute changes and breakdowns, multiple solos, multiple singing styles and tones and pitches and everything. Lyrics that are so overwhelming to the brain that you have to sit back and think about the meaning, because they are so in-depth in lyrical writing and use huge words and everything, and stories that are so massive in scope and size, and it's not basic. And they test the fundamentals of music by always coming up with a brand new, fresh ideas. Disturbed don't do even one of them things. They do none of them things. It's basically a pop formula. You start the song, you do the verse, you do the chorus, back to the verse, end on the chorus. That is how pop music is done. And, yeah, he has a bit of range for his vocals, but he never really does anything with his voice. Anything, no, it's always the same kind of style, the music. The guitar can do guitar solos, but he doesn't do it. Which shows to me he's lazy. And he doesn't want to, because he technically doesn't actually have to, because no one questions him on it. So, yeah, I'm gonna just end this, because there's no point talking about them. That I'm sure when the album comes out, it's going to be pretty pathetic. I shouldn't really care. It's a waste of time. But 4 out of 10. It's below average. It's kind of meh, but meh I wouldn't mind listening to again. I never would listen to this again. Ever. But if it played, I wouldn't mind. Which is why it's just below average. So, that's it. I'll still probably listen to the album, because as I said, this was kind of different. I'm going to bet everything I have it's not going to be good. I hate it if I'm wrong, but so far, these 2 songs are both pretty crap. So, until the album drops, or a new single comes out for this album, that'll be it until another single or the album for Disturbed. So, until then, if you want to see that, then subscribe so that you can see when I drop the video for it. If you just want to see more from me, then I also do other reviews and everything. I go in a lot of depth, so if you're into that, again, subscribe. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, by all means, you can leave a dislike. But I would appreciate leaving a comment to say why. If the comment is basically just like, you're wrong, the song is awesome, that's just an opinion, because by that means you're basically saying everyone is wrong if they don't like it. Therefore, fact, the song is brilliant. That's pretty silly, so don't even bother. So, make sure it's actually proper criticism, and, you know, be nice about it. So, that's it. Until next time, see you.